In this video, I'm going to be showing you 13 things I wish I knew before visiting Italy. One of the hardest things for a novel traveler is learning how to make the most of their travel without ruining their experience. The good news is, it doesn't have to be this way. I went to Italy myself after researching across hundreds of videos and articles about what to expect across every city and town. And these tips could save you a lot of embarrassing and stressful moments on your first trip to Italy. So let's start with tip number 1. Be wary of the bracelet scams. Don't fall for bracelet scams. If approached by someone apparently giving you something as a free present, just ignore them. If you engage, they will insist. They are good at it, just pretend they don't exist. From my experience, I gave €2 to one of them out of pity, but that wasn't even the worst part. Later that afternoon, another guy who tried to give me the bracelet when I was at the Colosseum tried to grab my shoulder after I turned him down politely. Needless to say, that scared me a little and made me more cautious of ignoring these people. If you can, visit the hidden gems. For first-time travelers, we often target the big and popular destinations like Rome, Florence, Venice, and Cinque Terre, but there are a lot of less crowded and beautiful places to see in the surrounding areas. So do leave out a day or two to explore the surrounding regions and quaint villages. Cappuccinos Afternoon? A crime apparently. Italians have certain unwritten rules and customs about ordering and drinking coffee in their coffee shops and bars. One of these customs is that it is considered strange to order a cappuccino after 11 a.m. The reason for this is that cappuccinos are traditionally considered a morning drink. They are made with equal parts of espresso, steamed milk, and foam, and are typically drunk with a sweet breakfast pastry or croissant. The rich flavor and creamy texture of the cappuccino make it the perfect companion to a sweet breakfast. However, after 11 a.m., it is considered more appropriate to switch to a stronger, richer coffee, such as an espresso or a macchiato. These coffees are typically consumed without any added milk or sugar and are meant to be sipped and savored rather than gulped down. Lesson learned: when in Rome, do what the Romans do and switch to espresso. Now that you're hopped up on some caffeine, just remember to don't be in a hurry. The Italians take their time. Waiters will usually not bother you when you eat. You will need to grab their attention if you want something, especially at the end when you want to pay. In Italian restaurants, coperto, meaning cover in Italian, is a fixed charge per person that covers the use of the table setting, linens, cutlery, basic service, and sometimes bread with olive oil, and is distinct from tipping. The coperto is a non-negotiable charge that is typically a flat fee of a few euros per person, and it's meant to cover the cost of using the restaurant's facilities and basic services. And no, coperto is not a tip, but it's a service charge. And while it's not a tip, it's customary to leave additional tips for good service. You might see it on the bill as pane e coperto, which includes the bread and the cover charge. Now that you're ready to have your meal, dishes are split into courses: antipasti, primi, secondi, contorni, and dolci. The antipasto are appetizers, such as cured meats, cheeses, etc. The secondi is a meat-based dish, the contorni a side dish, such as roasted vegetables, and lastly dolci, as in dessert. Remember to make reservations at popular places, as they can be full during dining hours. Keep in mind that Italians dine late, between the hours of 12:30 and 2 p.m. for lunch, and 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. for dinner. Take note that prices are different, as taking out is cheaper than when you sit down to eat. Keep in mind, you don't need to eat a 4-course meal all the time. Sometimes a simple spaghetti carbonara at a place like Pasta Ciuta near the Vatican will satisfy your hunger needs during a long day of sightseeing. Whenever possible, try to dine away from tourist attractions. You want to avoid the expensive restaurants near tourist attractions, as they don't have the best taste and are often expensive. Also, be wary and avoid ones with its menus only in English, as they often only cater to tourists and the cuisine can be inauthentic. Instead, find one a couple of blocks away, as you will find way better restaurants for a way better price. And when you do find a nice place to eat, choose food specialized to the region you're visiting. If you're in Naples, you'd want to try the pizza napoletana. When in Rome, cacio e pepe, carbonara, supli, and amatriciana. Florence, bistecca alla fiorentina, Florentine steak. And Venice, lasagnette con nero di seppia, a pasta dish with black ink from squid, a Venetian specialty. Once your tummy is full and ready to explore, do remember to travel lightly. Although it can be hard for some people, there are many reasons why you'd want to travel light. You have to worry less about lost luggages, less stress of carrying everything around, and cost savings on airlines and rental cars if you have a long trip. Pro tip: book an accommodation with laundry service, because when you need to, you can take a break at some point and do some laundry. If you have to carry lots of luggages, do leave it at the hotel, as you don't want to be carrying a lot of bags when you're visiting museums and restaurants. I was lucky enough that I had a good friend of mine who was willing to let me store my luggage at her place, and that saved me a lot of trouble as I went around Rome. Thank you, Katerina. I owe you one. When traveling around the country, the best way to do so is by buses and trains. For inner city trains, you can buy them online on a single nationalized company called Trenitalia. You can navigate their website and book tickets, whether it's from Rome to Florence, or Bari to Ancona. The other private company is Italo, which operates high-speed lines only. Going by train is a fantastic experience, as you get to witness the countryside and watch as you pass through mountains, followed by views of the Mediterranean coastline, as well as rural villages. For long-distance bus rides, I recommend booking online using the Omeo app, as you can find connections from many bus service providers like Flixbus or Itabus. These tickets often have an assigned seat, and you don't require validation. Now onto public buses. The main common characteristic of these is in the ticketing system. You buy a ticket, which is either for a single ride or for multiple rides within a time limit, and you validate it before boarding the bus. In other words, the ticket is not specific to a single ride, but it can be used whenever you want by validating it, depending on the bus. Tickets can be bought physically at a tobacco shop, bar, ticket machine, or an app, or sometimes a website too, like for Autolinee Toscane regional buses. Remember to buy entrance tickets in advance. The lines at popular tourist destinations like the Sistine Chapel and Vatican museums in the Vatican, the Colosseum in Rome, or the Uffizi Gallery in Florence can be incredibly long during peak travels, so book them online before you go. This can save you a lot of time, and there can even be discounts available. Now before you head into those destinations, cover up when going to churches. The dress code rules when visiting churches are simple. Cover your shoulders and knees, and you must wear shoes. In Italian churches, it's generally required to cover your shoulders and knees out of respect, according to Forbes and TripAdvisor. This means no sleeveless tops, shorts, or skirts that are too short. While some smaller churches may not enforce these rules as strictly, it's always a good idea to be mindful and respectful. If you gotta go to the restroom, having cash is a must. Toilets in Italy are not free, and I found that out the hard way in an emergency on a bus trip from Florence to Venice. Luckily, I had some cash on me that allowed me to relieve myself at the toilet. Most public toilets here require a small fee of 50 cents to a euro, and they only accept cash, so be prepared with some coins. Thirsty already? Take advantage of the free water fountains available to the public. There aren't many water fountains in public areas readily available, so do carry a water bottle should you need to stay hydrated on the go. That being said, it's not universally free at restaurants. Restaurants typically offer bottled water, both still and sparkling. While you can ask for tap water, don't shock your waiter, as it's often seen as unusual and may not be readily available. And finally, be sure to try the pre-dinner aperitivo. Aperitivo is a pre-dinner drink and social ritual in Italy, typically enjoyed in the late afternoon or early evening between work and dinner. It involves a drink, often alcohol, accompanied by snacks or small plates of food. The purpose is to open the appetite and transition from work to leisure. The drink is usually Vermouth, Campari, or Aperol Spritz, which are typically dry or bitter to awaken the palate. The snacks usually include foods like olives, chips, bread, or appetizers, often offered by the bar with the purchase of a drink. We hope this video was helpful on planning your next trip to Italy. If you got any tips we missed out? Drop your questions in the comments. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button and subscribe for more travel tips. Want more travel inspiration? Check out this video right here, and see you on your next adventure.